Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Star Wars Rebels episode review. This one's going to be for Season 2, Episode 9, Legacy, which I suppose is going to be our kind of mid-season finale episode, because it doesn't look like we have an episode next week, because I suppose they're, at this point in time, taking their kind of Christmas, maybe New Year's break, so we may not see the show back until next year. But again, I don't know exactly if that's the case, but it felt just about big enough to be somewhat of a mid-season finale. I thought the episode was really good, but not brilliant. I feel like it overall dealt with like an important issue that the show has had going for a while now, that being what's up with Ezra's parents. Will he find them? Are they alive? And stuff like that. And I think through that you got some nice exploration on some of the characters, like the Ghost Crew, showing how much of a family they are. But I felt the actual resolution on what happened with his parents ended up falling a little bit flat for me. Yes, it was emotional finding out that they are actually dead. Him finding out from the former governor of Lothal, Ryder Azani, that they're dead. They died in the escape attempt and stuff like that. It was like the fact that they didn't kind of, I suppose, show us what exactly happened, tell us like how they died. It just kind of seemed like the way he said it, like, oh, they got left behind in the escape attempt. I'm just like, that doesn't mean they died. Like, how do you know for sure that they were killed? Like, it was like the show was afraid of just telling us how his parents were killed. But again, you know, I can sort of understand them not wanting to do that, and having like showing their death would perhaps take away from the emotional moment of him kind of having this kind of vision of them and them speaking to him about how proud they are of him and continuing the whole idea of hope on. But it was just left a little vague, to the point where I'm kind of like, I still don't like fully believe they're dead just because it was so vague in how they told it. I ultimately think they are dead, and it's not going to be some big mystery that like comes out again that they're still alive. Just because it makes this episode then seem a bit kind of unnecessarily kind of vague for the point of bringing them back. But you know, it hit the moments it needed to, like especially at the start. Like the whole thing was that the Empire are attacking Garel because kind of Ezra let slip that that's where they are, and you had basically Ezra have this vision of basically stuff that was about to happen. It's kind of very reminiscent of kind of Anakin's visions, in that like visions from the Force are kind of vague, slightly out of context, and you have an idea about what they're trying to tell you, but they're in such context that you don't know for sure. Um, so it was interesting, and then him going to Kanan, and Kanan kind of, you know, having like a really good like student master relationship in this episode. Kanan actually having knowledge to actually tell Ezra about how, you know, don't get your hopes up about this vision. They are vague, and kind of gradually helping him along the way, you know, to connect with the animals, to find the right prisoner to kind of look for, to get information. That was pretty cool. And then just in general, the rest of the crew kind of putting everything on the line to help him, that he is such a big part of their family now, the family of the Ghost Crew, that they will do anything to help him. That being Hera and Sabine, you know, staying back with the fleet to help kind of create an opening for Kanan and Ezra to go out and search for his parents. That was like a really strong moment, just showing that they're all looking out for him. They all honestly do kind of care about what happens to him, and that they cared enough to help him, that they knew this was important for him to find out what happened to his parents, and they were willing to have that happen, even though it probably would have maybe made more sense for everyone to help the fleet get away. But they did that, and there was that nice moment where probably one of the best moments for Hera, even though Kanan says the line, and that's that like she's been looking out for everyone even since before I joined the crew. Like to me, that line tells you more about her character than like nearly anything she's done in the entire series up to now. Just that's who she is at a base level as a character. She cares about the group, and you know, people always call her like the mother of the Ghost Crew, and that line is kind of telling you that in the same way. And uh, just in general throughout the episode, I liked how they kind of compared and contrasted um, Ezra's parents, who we got to see a little bit of, Mira and Ephraim Bridger. compared to, I suppose, the people who are acting as his parents now, Hera and Kanan, and how definitely that's the role that is kind of taken on here. That Hera, the kind of mother figure, knows that this is important for Ezra and allows it to happen, and then Kanan, the father figure, goes along with him to help him find out. It was a strong moment, and then when they do meet, what was it, X10 or yeah, X10 prisoner X10, and we find out that he is the governor of Lothal, and he gives us the information. It was interesting that they referenced him, Ezra, giving out the message of hope, of rebellion, basically, to everyone, and that his parents heard it, and without even knowing how his voice sounds now that he's older, they knew it was him, and that was a strong moment. I definitely think that was good. Just that he knows that they knew who he was, that it was him, that he's continuing on their goals. That's enough for Ezra, and that's perhaps why we don't have to have his parents be alive going forward, and have it be this massive mystery. Just knowing that they were killed, knowing that their son is kind of continuing on their mission, that he's kind of turned out the way they wanted, is enough. And he's with a group of people that are a family, that care about him. That was the core of this episode, and I really liked how it was done overall. It was just, just the fact that they were leading up to, like, oh, we're maybe going to meet his parents, and then it just like, oh, they're dead. It's always a little bit like, that was a little bit anticlimactic, but the emotional core of this episode was very strong. I do think that. Other things to mention about the episode, Ezra had another really strong moment, but also I suppose hints about how he's maybe not the perfect Jedi. Just the fact that he has those moments where he kind of snaps at Kanan, that like, you don't know how I feel, when he gets a bit overly emotional, is about to kind of rush into battle against the two Inquisitors, and kind of Kanan has to save him. That Kanan doesn't know. He didn't really know his parents all that much, and Kanan does. But Ezra immediately realizes that he's kind of out of line saying that, given how much Kanan and the rest of the crew have done for him. So there were some like really nice character moments between like Hera and Ezra, Hera and Kanan. And not so much kind of Ezra and the rest of the crew, but the kind of those kind of two core relationships between Ezra and the kind of, I suppose, two leaders in the Ghost crew were nice. We got to see Captain Rex, be in a more, I suppose, leadership role. He was on the kind of main command vessel, escaping, and I suppose going forward, that's our main thing, that the rebels are searching for a new planet to establish a base on, and the main core of our rebel group have now escaped, but they've lost one of their ships. So they're down a ship, they're on the run, and the Empire are chasing after them. So, it's interesting. It is a kind of cliffhanger ending to the kind of mid-season that, when we start up again, like, we're going to have to find a new base of operations and establish everything all over again. I assume, Darth Vader will have to come back into things. They'll have to reintroduce, I suppose, more of the plot with regards to the Inquisitors, but it's interesting enough where things go. I'm just a little bit worried that we're maybe going to go back to what we had kind of in the last couple of episodes before this one, and more of the episodes are just like, oh, while we're searching for a base, let's have a character episode with Sabine and Hera again and stuff like that. I prefer it to be a little bit more plot focused now, where they maybe play up the desperation and stuff like that. I'd like to see more character development with the plot. Like maybe Hera's father, Cham Syndulla, comes back into things and helps them find a base of operations. But overall, they're my thoughts on the episode. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on my review and the episode itself. Other than that, thanks for watching, and bye.